welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Emma, and this is my channel where I try and bring you weekly or bi-weekly tutorials so that you can learn something new. In today's tutorial, I thought I'd do something a little different. I thought that I would do a Q&A of all the top questions that are asked on my channel, and I'm going to supply you the answers. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, the first subject we're going to discuss is sublimation shirts. The number one question I get asked almost in every video is, Emma, where do you buy your shirts? So there's three main warehouses that I buy them from. That's going to be jiffyshirts.com, clothing-shop-online.com, and SNS Activewear. Now, I believe with SNS Activewear, they may require a tax ID, but I don't remember off the top of my head. SNS Activewear is usually going to be your best prices. Clothing Shop Online is usually the next best, and then Jiffy Shop, I've found that they are probably the most expensive out of all of them, but not by far. I'm talking maybe 50 cents. It's not too bad. And then when you're in a time crunch and you can't wait to get an order, let's say you get, a customer order, or you have an event this weekend you need a shirt for, you can go to Hobby Lobby and get shirts. So they do have a generic brand for the white shirt that's really great. It doesn't have like a name brand on it. It's like the Hobby Lobby generic brand. Super great. It's one of my favorite shirts. And then they also have the next level shirts, and those ones are at least 50% poly. So those also work really great for sublimating, but keep in mind they're only 50%, so they're not going to be as bright and vibrant as the other shirts. And so far I have bleached, out of the next level, I've been able to bleach the green, the military green, the red, and the blue. So I know those three bleach. I haven't tried their other colors. Then I know that I have also mentioned a few other small businesses in some of my past videos that I still definitely want to support and give a shout out to. Tamara's Tidbits, or rtssublimationdblanks.com, has amazing shirts. I really like her shirts. In fact, I would compare the feel of her, that fabric to my favorite shirt at Hobby Lobby. If I was going to purchase in bulk and buy a whole bunch of shirts, I would probably do it from her website versus going into Hobby Lobby. Again, I want to support small businesses. And then there's another one. Oh, and spoiler alert, she's got something big coming soon. I'm not going to tell you yet, but when she told me some of these shirts that she's going to be getting, I believe here in the fall, I am ecstatic. And as soon as she releases that information, you're going to be the first to know. The other one is Knock Customs. They sent me a shirt to try, and it was a great shirt. I have no complaints about the shirt. And it definitely had a bright, vivid image. So you can definitely, there's lots of different places that you can purchase your shirts. And let me just quickly tell you, I am not affiliated in any way, shape, or form at this moment of me filming this video. Now, someday I could be, but as of right now, I am not affiliated. I just like to give you the information of what I know. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next question. What shirts are best for sublimating? So it depends. It depends on what you're doing. So if you're just gonna straight on sublimate, and let's say you're looking for a white shirt, then I would say the higher the polyester count, the better. One of my favorite shirts, if it was just like a unisex shirt, would be the Gildan 4200. I want to say those are 100% polyester. However, they're going to be kind of see-through. So that would be more for like males. Or like I will do like a tie-dye sublimation and it's kind of covering the whole shirt. I'll use those shirts just because they are a little bit thinner. But typically I do have a favorite white shirt. Tamara's Tidbits was one and Hobby Lobby's was the other. And then like if you want to bleach and sublimate, then I definitely have a favorite shirt there too. And that leads me to my next question is, what shirts are best for bleaching and sublimating? Personal opinion, Gildan 6400, hands down. Like they have been so great to me. This is pretty much everything you see here besides those whites. These are all the Gildan 6400. So it just depends on what site you're on. I want to say that at jiffyshirts.com, they could be 640 or 6400, and then the other site it's like 64,000. As long as it's 64 followed by zeros, that's the type of shirt you're looking for. But this is very important. They also sell that same 6400 sells regular 100% cotton shirts. So the ones I am referring to when it comes to bleaching and sublimating are the heather colored. So if you look it up, their names are going to be heather. So this is, I think, heather red and heather orange and heather navy and heather Irish green and heather military, right? If it has the word heather, then before the color, then it is going to be 65% polyester, 35% cotton, which is the perfect formula for bleaching and sublimating. Now keep in mind, some colors won't bleach. It doesn't matter if they're 65-35. So what I would suggest is don't order a huge bulk order. Maybe order one of each color, preferably in your size, so that if you mess up, it's your shirt that you get to keep. Practice bleaching on it, practice sublimating on it. And if it's something that works out and you love it, then order in bulk. That way you're not out a whole bunch of money on a shirt that's not gonna bleach or sublimate. Okay, and then let me go back a little bit to what shirts are best for sublimating. I already mentioned this, but the higher the polyester count, the better. But there is a channel and a website that I would love to give a shout out to. It is DebbieDoesDesign.com, or you can find her YouTube channel. She explains this so well, and she's the one, honestly, that taught me, is that she has this really awesome chart that will show you, if you're gonna sublimate on this color of shirt, this is what the ink is gonna show up like. And so it kind of gives you a good idea. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna sublimate on pink, what the colorful image is going to look like compared to if you were going to sublimate on white. So check out her website. I'll try and put it in the description below on how you can find her and how you can find that website and just see exactly. The other thing that she has on there is a really great comparison on the polyester count. So if it's 100% polyester, this is how bright and beautiful the image is going to look like. And if it's 50%, this is what it's going to look like. So it's really good to visualize before you practice it yourself. Okay, the next question that I get asked a ton about shirts is what tank tops that I use. It's really funny because I don't think I've ever done a tutorial on my tank tops, but I think I'm wearing them a lot. And so I get that question a lot because everyone's like, I'm looking for tank tops, I can't find them. Well, the tank tops that I use, I've only been able to find on jiffyshirts.com. They are the District brand, and they are called the Ladies Perfect Tri-Racer Back Tank. Now they're only 50% polyester, so they're not going to be a bright, beautiful image. They're going to be more of a vintage style, like grayed down type image, but that's what I love about those tank tops. Like that's what I'm going for in that tank top. So I love them and my customers love them. So I've been very happy with them. So I'm happy to share with you. The next subject that we're going to talk about is bleaching. So here goes. How long do you leave the bleach on? Well, honestly, you guys, it's different every time. So there's just so much that goes into it. So is the sun out? Is it cloudy? Is it nighttime? Is it winter? Like it just completely depends on the environment that you're bleaching in and the color. So if it's, some of my darker colors take longer. Actually, it's really funny. My orange takes the longest to get to the white that I wanted. So I can't tell you how long it takes or how long to leave bleach on. You truly need to experiment it yourself in your environment, the way you like to bleach, and then make notes. Here during the summertime, I can bleach pretty quick, and sometimes I have to be out there for 45 minutes with the bleach on because it takes it that long because maybe I don't have enough sun. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I get a lot of rain and a lot of clouds, and so sometimes it'll take longer than other days when it's beautiful and sunny and sometimes 90+ degrees. So I wish I could give you a straight answer of how long it takes. There's really not a straight answer because it's completely based on what you're bleaching, what color you're bleaching, and where you're located, your environmental conditions. Okay, the next question is, do you dilute your bleach? Do you dilute Do you dilute your bleach? Heaven help me. Okay, so the answer is, have I? Yes. Do I normally? No. So what I have found when I dilute my bleach is that it kind of waters it down too much and results in it spreading a little bit more than I like. So I'm sure you guys have seen on some of my images, when I do my bleach, I like a really nice tight line around that image. I have found that when I add water to my bleach, it's just a little bit runnier and I don't get that nice crisp line. So can you dilute? Absolutely. Do I dilute? Nope, I don't. Okay, moving on. Do you have to let the bleach dry all the way before you wash it? No. So if your shirt, if the bleach section is at the desired color that you want it to, which honestly, you guys, can I get these heather navies all the way white? Yes, I can. But there's like a really pretty orangey color between that stage that if you were kind of going for like a spooky Halloween shirt, then you would want to stop the bleaching the bleaching process before it gets to white. So it really just kind of depends on what color you want it to be at. So you wouldn't necessarily need it to dry out all the way because it might still be wet when it's that orange phase. So no, you do not have to wait until it's dry. If it's at the desired color that you want it at, you can take it inside and rinse it out. Next question. Do you need to give your bleached shirts a hydrogen peroxide bath? It's totally up to you. It's personal preference. I honestly have not done that. I definitely will if I have a higher bulk of shirts that I'm doing at one time. So I typically try and only bleach like 5, maybe 10 shirts at a time, because it's just, there's just so much going on that I want to make sure that I don't over bleach or under bleach. So I typically try and keep mine to that many at a time. But I know that there's a lot of you out there that you'll bleach 20 plus shirts at a time. I think it would be a great idea for you guys to have the hydrogen peroxide water bath, because what that is you're in the middle. Let's say you start on all these shirts. You start on this shirt first and you've got a line of 10 shirts of 5 rows, right? And by the time you get to this shirt down here, this one is done and this one is just started. So you don't want this one to get holes. So typically what they do is they'll grab all the shirts that are done. They're going to throw them into a hydrogen peroxide water bath, is what I like to call it. And it basically will stop the process of the bleaching. So it's really handy when you're doing a lot of shirts at one time. Do you have to do that? No, I don't. When my shirts are done, they usually all end up done at the same time, because like I said, I'm only doing a handful. I'll grab all my shirts. I'll take them up into my laundry room sink and I just start rinsing them. I rinse them all really quickly first, and then I've got Dawn dish soap. That's just what I do, you guys. Just telling you what I do. I get the Dawn dish soap and I'm going to rinse them off really well with gloved hands. And then I rinse them really well to get all of the suds out. I then will throw them in the wash and go from there. Okay, that leads me to the next question. Do you use laundry detergent when washing? If the shirt is for me or my family, yes, I do. I use my regular laundry detergent. But if I'm using it for a customer, I usually will not use laundry well, I will use a laundry detergent, but I'm going to use one that does not have any scents in it. So the one of choice is going to be the Alls brand, and it's going to say free and clear. That one doesn't have any harsh chemicals or scents in it, and it's definitely going to help with the customers that have, allergies to things like that. So I would highly suggest that if you are making these for customers, to either don't use any, just use water, or use a very light detergent that's not going to be an irritant to their skin. All right, the next subject is hydrogen peroxide. This is a short subject. I don't get asked this question too often, but I definitely have got it asked enough that I'm going to bring it up in the Q&A today. So what is it used for? There's 2 purposes in this industry. If there's another one, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's just 2. Outside, when you're bleaching and it's at the white that you want it to, or the yellow, like whatever color that you want it to stop at, you can either, like I have a hydrogen peroxide, actually I've got one right here. Okay, you can get a hydrogen peroxide water bottle. I got these from Amazon in a package of 6. And I will just go through and very lightly spray right onto that area that I want to slow or stop down the bleaching. Slow down or stop the bleaching. Now keep in mind, you don't want to do too much of it, because I have found that when I put too much, it will actually make the bleach spread further than you want it to. So just enough to get it to slow down. Or your other option, like we discussed before, is having hydrogen and water in a little bath, and you just throw the shirt in. It'll do the same thing. Now I believe when you're doing that bath, I think it's half and half, but I very much could be wrong. I will Google that, just because I've never done the hydrogen bath before, or the peroxide bath. So I will Google it and I'll put it in the description below, but I either want to say it's half and half or like 1/4 and 3/4. So I'll find out for sure and I'll put it in the description of this video. Now, one thing that you want to make sure on your peroxide, if you're going to get it from the store and it doesn't have this spray nozzle, a lot of times I've seen on other videos, people will get it and they'll dump it into a spray bottle. Be very careful. Don't dump it into a clear or see-through spray bottle. They come in a brown container on purpose. When the sun hits the peroxide, it like basically ruins it, and it will no longer work to the purpose you need it for. So always keep it in a dark spray bottle if you're not going to order it like this. I've also seen people get like duct tape or colored tape, and then they tape their spray bottle so that it's all covered and the sun won't get in it. Same thing with your bleach. Be protective on your bleach and just make sure that you don't, if you're gonna have it in a see-through bottle while you're spraying, that's great. Just dump it out after, dump it back into the container when you're done. The other reason you're going to use peroxide is when you're inside. So when you're pressing, a lot of the times, you know, this is a really hot heat press. And when I'm pressing my sublimation presses, this is at 400 degrees. And so what's going to happen most of the time is you're going to get scorch marks if you bleached first. So, and what that is, it's basically like a yellowing of, if let's say you got it all the way white and then you press it and now all of a sudden it looks like yellow, like scorched. It really does. All you do is just spray a few little spritzes of this onto the surface of the shirt where you see the yellowing. And then what I do is I hover this down. I don't know if I could do it from this angle. I can't do it from this angle. I have to be on the other side. But you would hover this down all the way to about right there. So you're about an inch, inch and a half above your image. You don't want to touch the image because obviously that sublimation ink will get on your heat press and you don't want that. But you're lowering it just enough that the heat is helping this to evaporate and it gets all of the scorch marks out of your shirt. I have never had this not work. So again, two purposes for the peroxide: when you're outside to slow or stop the bleaching process, and when you're inside to remove the scorching from the shirt. All right, so the next subject we're going to talk about is images. Emma, where do you get your images from? I am typically finding my images from designbundles.com. I am a member, so which I highly encourage you guys to. Again, I'm not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with anybody that I talk about in this video today, but I personally really love Design Bundles. They have such a range of images and designs to choose from, and being a member, I can't remember how much it is a month. I want to say it's like 20 or something, but being a member, I get a whole bunch of free images. I think it's every Friday. And then there's a lot of images that is worth like 1 credit, and they are literally awesome, awesome images. And I think some of the images that I have already shown in some of these videos were part of my Design Bundles packages. So I highly encourage you, if you haven't yet, check out Design Bundles. They have so many images to choose from. The other one that I look at is Etsy. So I do like to support small businesses, and so I look at a lot of people's Etsy pages to see if I can find an image from them. I will say though, use extreme caution, because there is a lot of Etsy shops that, you know, let's say you find an image, you're like, oh, this is so great, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna sell it. No, there's a lot of Etsy shops that get shut down because they shouldn't be selling those images. So if an image is copywritten, you know, a lot of images out there, you guys, just try and use your common sense. If this is a movie, if this is a musician, or, you know, things like that, and they're selling an image that goes along with that, legally, you probably shouldn't even be purchasing it. Have I in the past? Probably, but I'm trying to be better about that now that I've been educated. Do your best not to purchase copywritten images. And then secondly, definitely don't turn around and sell them, because you don't want to jeopardize your Etsy shop or wherever it is that you're going to sell. So be careful about that. And then the last thing I want to say about images is purchase your own. Don't look for handouts. There is some really amazing designers that I have become friends with. I mean, I've never even spoken to them a day in my life, but through Facebook and through this community. And when you or someone else purchases their design, and then you go and post a picture and like, oh, can someone find this design? I can't find it. Oh, here, just use this one. No, you guys, like, they worked hard. I know one person I follow, she said that sometimes her images take her 15 hours to make. You guys, that's her hard time and energy. Don't go share her images. Go find the image yourself and purchase it. It's the right thing to do, and it's good karma. I always talk about that. Good karma, you guys. Okay, one of the other questions I have on images is, what size did you print your image? It depends, you guys. There is a website that you can go to that will, I'll share it in the description below, but it's a website that I've been following. Every time that I'm like, oh, what size image do I want to use? I'll go and I'll look at that. But it really depends. I mean, even that website is just giving you a suggestion of what they think you should do. But really, sometimes you just gotta get your shirt, you just gotta lay it down. And usually I will start with a piece of paper and I'll lay the paper down and I envision the image on that piece of paper compared to the shirt. And sometimes I'm like, that is way too small. So then I get, 2 pieces of paper and I put those side by side and I'm like, ooh, that's way too big, Then I start getting my ruler and I decide for myself what image size is going to be best for that shirt. So is there guidance? Absolutely. And I would start there and then kind of put your twist on, your own personalization on what you think is going to work best for the design and the shirt that you're using. All right, the next question on images is, how do you create larger images when your printer won't print the 11 by 17 prints? Now, I could go way deep into this right now, but it would probably be a whole video. So what I'm going to do is just link the video right up above and just go ahead and watch that video. I do have a tutorial already that's something like how to make your images bigger than an 8.5 by 11 or something like that, I think is what the name of that video is. Check that video out. And anytime someone asks me this question, I'll just go and copy and paste the link to that video in there because it explains it really well. And I do have some other videos, like the one where I did the water tie-dye look, where I did a really cool image on that shirt. I have, I think I was doing that one on a 3XL. And so I definitely used my Epson 2760 for that image, which was only 8.5 by 11 print area, but I was able to have, explain a really awesome workaround, how I put some of the image here, I put some of the image up here, and some of the image down there, and then when I got done printing it, I cut around it, and then I taped it together with heat tape. You guys, there is some really awesome workarounds that if you don't have a bigger printer, there is a way to do it. So check out my other videos that have step-by-step instructions on how to do that. You won't regret it. All right, the next subject we're going to talk about is fonts. Emma, how do you choose your fonts? I do have a video about this. I'll go ahead and link it up above, but my favorite place to help me find fonts is called wordmark.it. Now, this website, again, not affiliated with them, is awesome, so awesome. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna pull any font that you already had on your computer or that you downloaded onto your computer. Now, what that means is if you bought a font from designbundles.com and you downloaded it and it's sitting in a zip file on your computer, you didn't download it yet. Like, you have to open the zip file, you have to click download. Once you do that, then you can use this website. The other thing that will not pull up is if you have Cricut Design Space where they have their own fonts, or like PicMonkey, I use them a lot, and sometimes they'll have their own fonts. It's not going to pull those fonts. It's only going to pull the fonts that are on your computer. And basically, you'll just go in and put the word or the sentence that you want to use, and it generates all of your different fonts. And it's so amazing because you can just go right on through and click and choose, oh, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. Go down your whole list. And then there's a button at the top that will say like filter your selections. And usually when I do that, I have like 10 that I have selected. And then I just go through and I'm just like, okay, of these 10, obviously these were my favorites. Which one is my absolute favorite? So I use that site a ton when I'm trying to choose the font. And then, like I said, I'll go ahead and link that video up above if you want to watch that. Now, the other question I get on fonts is, how do I find out what font this is? Like, this is a really pretty font on this logo that I found. I love the font and I want to use it. So there is a website called What the Font. Is that funny? I think it's so funny. I want to say it's myfonts.com/what the font/ something like that. But you can Google What the Font and it will come up. And it's so cool because it has this little drag and paste where if you find something and you just drag and paste an image into there, then it will pop up and it's going to show you a whole bunch of similar fonts. It does work because I've tried it a few times. I even recently rebranded my channel and my business, as many of you know. And so I used one of my, rebranded images and I popped it in there, and it was like the 7th one down, but it definitely picked up what font I used to do my rebranding. Now keep in mind, it's awesome because there was like 20 different fonts that were very similar. So at least you'll find something similar if you're trying to find a font that really interests you. I don't think any of those are going to be free, but at least I believe there's a link that you can click on. Like it will say, okay, this is a font that maybe you can buy from Design Bundles, or, you know, sometimes Etsy or whoever is selling that font, it will send you a link on where you can purchase that font. So it's really awesome. Now let's talk about heat presses. So where did you get your heat press? I love my heat press. I got my heat press from mycraftsource.com. It is what they call the clam style. This one was a 15" by 15", and I love it. I love the color. It's worked out amazing for me. It's definitely a little squeaky, but I'm sure it's because I probably need to give it some love and maybe oil it up a little bit. But I have had no problems at all with this press. I eventually want to get a larger press, and when I say eventually, probably within the next 6 months. I want to get one that's like a 16 by 20, and I definitely want to get one where this bottom part here actually has a handle at the end down here. You can pull it out, and then you can put your shirt on, and then you can push it back in. And the reason that's so amazing is I have burnt myself more than once down here because your fingers get really close when you're trying to shove shirts in here. Now they also have, or this leads me to my next question, is they ask me all the time, should I buy the clamshell type press or should I get the swing away or the swivel? They're both great, you guys. Honestly, they're both great. I think it's going to depend on your space. So I definitely have a smaller little shop. I would like a swing away, but I just don't think it would work in the space that I have. It would take up a lot more of my counter space. So, and not when it's closed, it doesn't, but when you have to lift it up and swivel it, it's now taking up double the space than this one does. So keep that in mind when you're gonna get a swivel. Now also, when you get a swivel or swing away, whatever you guys wanna call it, the one thing I've heard from people that do have those is the very corner of, let's just say this was a swivel, this corner right here, the swivel is still somewhat covering that. So there is still a chance of you burning your fingers. So honestly, my preference eventually when I get one is gonna be the one where the bottom part pulls out. My fingers will never be anywhere near this heat element up top. All right, next question is, can I use a regular iron? I would say I would not recommend it, personally. If you want to try it, all power to you, try it. The main difference, if you look at the bottom of your iron, you're going to see a whole bunch of dots, circles, right? Those circles, basically, because it's not a flat iron, the heat is not distributed equally across. So what I have seen, and I can always see it immediately, someone will post like, why didn't this work? It's, you know, faded in some areas. Well, when I look at that image, I can actually see dots, and it's usually because that part of the shirt or the image that they sublimated didn't have heat because the heat was everywhere else but those dotted spots. It's not giving off enough heat or even heat. So I would not recommend using a regular iron for sublimation unless you were doing something teeny tiny in one little space. Maybe it's something that you could start out with and try it, but I would say no. Now, if you wanted to not spend too much money, like this heat press, I want to say was around $300 to $400. If you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can definitely start with maybe a mini heat press. I want to say there's 3 different sizes that Cricut sells, you know, like a mini, a small, medium, large, whatever. The mini heat press I bought, I think is like $50. So, and it's teeny tiny, but if I was going to recommend something over an iron, like a household iron, I would say start with at least a mini heat press and work your way up. You won't regret it. You'll see the difference immediately. So if there's something you want to ask for your birthday or a holiday or Mother's Day or whatever, then keep that on your list and ask your loved ones for it. All right, the next question is, do you need to turn your heat press off during each press? To me, I say it depends. So if you've seen some of my videos, I mean, they're not always real life, right? Like I don't videotape every time I work on Etsy orders. So what I typically try and do is I try and get all of my shirts ready at one time. I put the paper in between every single one of them. I will lint roll them, and I usually will pre-press them all at once. Just get them all done, set them to the side. Then I get the images and I put the images in the same order as the shirts. And then it's just like an assembly line, and I can knock one after another, and I can get them all done very quickly. That is like the best thing to do because it gets hot. And sometimes I will get really sweaty just trying to get these all pressed because it's so hot. Which brings up another good point. Have some windows open, you guys. This is sublimation ink. It's gases. So it's probably not the healthiest thing to sit there and breathe in hours and hours a day, but make sure that you have a well-ventilated area. So whenever I'm pressing, I usually will have my door open, my window open, things like that, just to help circulate some of that airflow. But do I turn it off? I usually will only turn it off if I know that it's going to be 5 minutes or more before I press my next shirt or blank. And then it's easy. I'll just flip it back on as soon as I'm ready again. I usually, though, will unplug it when I know that I'm not going to sublimate for the rest of the day. Few parts to that. I've got kids, I've got neighboring kids that will come play. It looks like a really fun sci-fi machine to them. They think this is awesome, and it has a really big red awesome button, and I'm just so afraid that someone will come and turn on my press and could burn themselves. It gets very hot. So if I am not currently using it, I'm not going to be in the room, or I know I'm done for the day, I always unplug it. The other side of that is, if we had a storm and lightning, and I've heard this happening, like literally the lightning can hit your house, and things that are plugged directly into a plug can definitely ruin your machine. It can ruin your televisions and all of that. So usually you'll have like a surge protector. I probably need to get one because I don't have a surge protector in between this and my wall. But that's another reason why I unplug it when it's not in use. All right, we're getting to the end, you guys. The next subject we're going to talk about is printer, ink, and paper. I kind of kept those all lumped in one because they're all pretty much intertwined with each other. So Emma, what type of printer do you have? Well, I currently have two different ones. My first one was an Epson 2760. I love it. It was the first printer I ever had, and it's kind of my baby. It only prints 8.5 by 11, but like I said before earlier in this video, I have workarounds on how I can make bigger images and then tape them together. Currently in that printer, I have Cosmos ink, which I love, and pretty much was the only ink I ever used, so I didn't really know any different. The other printer that I have, I just got, I've only had it for a few weeks, is the Epson 15000. And let me point out, both of these printers are regular printers that I converted to be sublimation printers. Now the only thing, that's just kind of a fancy term. The only thing that you have to do to convert the printer is make sure that it doesn't have regular ink in it. It has sublimation ink in it. So it's really as easy as that. So with the 15,000 printer, I do have the Epson sublimation ink, which was news to me, you guys. I didn't even know that Epson had sublimation ink. Well, guess what? Epson has sublimation printers, so of course they have sublimation ink. Now, their printers, their special sublimation printers, they're going to be expensive. So that's why you see a lot of us crafters and small business owners, we are purchasing these less expensive printers and then converting them to be sublimation printers. So those are the two I use. If I had to compare Cosmos to Epson, I'm still on the fence. There's some things that I'll print on my Epson and then I'll print, with Epson ink, and then I'll print with Cosmos ink. And I love this one, but then I'll love this one. So I don't know yet. I don't feel like I have enough experience with both side by side to say that I love one more than the other, because I feel like the Cosmos ink is more orangey, and then I feel like the Epson ink is a little more red. But there is ways to fix that, you guys. Within the settings of your printer settings, you can go in and fix that. You would just have to do a few tests. You'd have to be willing to do a few test prints and presses to get it to the color vibrancy that you want. So it is kind of hard to compare the two inks because there are tricks around, it to get it to be exactly how you want it to be. All right, the next question is, what settings do you use? So everybody, again, personal preference, but I have played around with a lot of different settings, and these are the ones that I choose to use, especially with my Cosmos ink. I'm still playing around with the Epson ink, and I think I'm going to try the ICM version, which will make sense here in a second. But as of right now, this is at least the settings that I use for currently both of my printers. So when you're going to click print, you're going to click on the option that says printer properties. Once you're in there, you want to change your paper type to presentation paper matte. You want to change your quality to high. And then you want to make sure that you have the quiet mode on, because that is going to slow down your printer from printing too fast. Slow is best when you're printing for sublimation, because you want to make sure that it's accurate and that the ink has time to saturate. the paper. The next thing you want to do is click print preview. Now you don't have to do this, but I love to do this because then I can make sure that before it actually prints, I get to see the image one last time to make sure that it's absolutely perfect. That way I don't lose out on ink or, my paper. Then you're going to go to the top and you're going to select more options. And what you're going to do here is you're going to change it from automatic to custom. And then you're going to click on advanced. And then under color management, you're going to select color controls. So then the color mode will open and you're going to select Adobe RGB and your gamma of 2.2. Go ahead and hit enter and then continue. And then under the additional settings, unselect bidirectional print. Again, this is just a preference of mine. Bidirectional print just helps your printer print faster, and I want my printer to slow down. Now keep in mind, this option is only available on some printers, not all. So if you don't see this option, there's nothing wrong with your printer, it's just not available on your printer option. And then the last thing I do is select mirror image. Now the reason I do this is because I don't mirror the image or flip the image while I'm designing it. I leave it just like I want it, and then I mirror it when I go to print it. And because if you flipped it before and then you mirror it again during the printing, then it's gonna just flip back and then your image is gonna be backwards when you go to print it. So I only mirror the image here at this printing section. All right, another question is, can I use a regular printer? Yes and no. I mean, both of my printers are regular Epson printers that usually take regular ink. However, they do not have regular ink in them. They have sublimation ink in them. So if you're asking me, can I just use a regular printer with no changes to it? No, you can't. But you can take a regular Epson printer. There are ways to take out the ink that's already in there if it's not sublimation ink. I know there's videos on YouTube, so just search them up. But if you purchase an Epson printer that never has had ink in it, do not put the ink in it that came with the printer. You need to purchase special sublimation ink. I know I've mentioned a few here on this video that you've got Cosmos ink, you've got, gosh, I can't think of them all. There's so many different inks out there, but I currently have Cosmos and the Epson sublimation ink, not the Epson regular ink, so be very careful. All right, the next question is, do you have to keep your printer on? Maybe. I get asked that question all the time, and I have tried to search it up and find out if there is a definitive answer. I can't really find one. But a lot of the crafters out there have all said leave them on. Now, both of mine are on right now. They both have a light, but the LCD screen is off. So I don't turn them off fully and I don't unplug them. And that's only because from what I have read and what I've heard, you're supposed to leave it on so that the ink doesn't dry out. I don't know how accurate that is. If somebody does know, please leave it in the comments below and I will make sure that I update the description. But to my knowledge, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I wish I knew, you guys, but I don't. I'll be honest with you, and I don't know for sure if you have to leave your printers on or not. Next question is, what kinds of sub paper do you use? So I have used a sub. Happy with them. I've used koala. I actually really liked koala. I felt like the images were really bright and vibrant. I think the biggest thing is it's going to say 120 or 125 gram. And basically the difference is one of them will hold more ink than the other. And the reason you would want it to hold a little more ink is so that when you go to press, it's going to release more ink because it had more ink in the sheet. However, I have stuck with 120 gram and it's fine. It works for me and I don't have any complaints. Now, the one other one that I do want to remind you of is Knock Customs. They have a great sublimation paper. I actually really like it. And I know I did another video, remember I was sublimating the Crocs? Well, in that video, I used her sublimation paper and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see the image come through. She reached out to me and she's like, Emma, you don't have to have butcher paper. Like, I guess the paper is like thick enough that it doesn't bleed through to your press. So if you want to save yourself some money and not have to have butcher paper to protect your heating element, knockcustoms.com has that, great sublimation paper that, again, your image won't shine through and it won't bleed through. So And the image was great. The paper worked great. I liked the image. I still have the paper, so I haven't ordered anymore because I have a lot of paper right now. I got to go through all my paper that I've got. But I would suggest, like, if I'm going to recommend, I would say A-Sub, Koala, and the Knock Customs sublimation paper are all really great papers. Okay, one of my last questions is, what craft table do you have and how do you store your items? Probably the best way to explain it is to show you, but I will go ahead and tell you the two sides here. My table has two sides. They are both squares that I bought from Lowe's, but I've seen them everywhere, like Walmart, Target, wherever, and it's just the wooden square shelves that have the 9 different cubes, right? I built those all by myself, and then I had my husband get a big piece of wood. You could get plywood or whatever kind of wood you want. He got it for me, he sanded it down, and then he stained it for me. Nothing special, like simple, very simple. I think this whole table cost me less than $100 because I want to say these shelves were, I want to say around 40 bucks a piece. So that's 80, and then maybe 15 for the wood. Who knows now? Wood is so expensive right now, so who knows? But then what we did is we just screwed them together, and they're really not, like, I'm gonna shake the table right now, it's gonna shake my camera, but it's steady, like it doesn't go anywhere. And then what we did is we cut it a little bit longer than the width of the shelves that's holding it up. So I'll go ahead and kind of do a quick tour of my office next. All right, guys, here is this angle of the table. I'm gonna start off by saying I was gonna clean up my office a little better, but then I decided I wanted to keep it real with you guys, and sometimes our offices are a mess. So this is my shop. You can see, as I was explaining, it's got the 2 different shelving units, and I just got these from Lowe's, but I've seen them everywhere: Target, Home Depot, Walmart. I bought each of them. I think they were only 40 bucks each. In fact, I think they were even on sale. And then I got these inserts, like these drawers. I think I got at Fred Meyer. I think I even got these at Fred Meyer, but I've seen them so many different places and they just fit perfectly in there. These baskets are a little big. They kind of sew through on the other side, but I think they work perfect for what I've got going on. And then you can see the other one back there. And then my husband just screwed these to the table with these screws underneath, so it does not get wiggly at all. I've got my heat press on top. I always like to reuse my stickers, so as you can see, I sticker all of these based on size. And then when I go to press them or bleach them, I put the sticker back here, and then I put the sticker back on the sheet when I go to mail it. And then I've got my weighing machine for when I go and mail my shirts or other inventory I've got. When I make my signs, I've got my hardware, stickers basically saying, hey, here's pretty things, all of my scissors, all of my Cricut mats on the wall there. Obviously my mannequin, all of my shirts, basically floor to ceiling. If you ever see these poking out in my videos, I literally save anything whenever I get packages. I've got more over on that side. Whenever I get any packages, I save anything that has anything to do with shipping so that I can ship my signs or whatever when I get them. This is shipping paper. It will eventually go up on the wall once I repaint my room. That's my butcher paper. These are both the same device. I want to say these were about 50, 60 bucks off of Amazon. They're awesome, and they can actually hook to the wall, and they rip really well, so I really like them. Let's see, probably showing you some of the stuff I store. So I've got my Cricut mug press, sewing machine. This is a projector because I like to do artwork on walls. Another Cricut heat press down there, the mini and the largest one. Signs, extra signs, extra poly mailers for when I send vinyl, rulers for shirts. This here, I love to paint, so this is all my painting stuff. Whenever I find things at Hobby Lobby, like these were on sale for like $1 for like 4 bags. That's insane. So, you know, like things like that, shipping. What else do I store? Over here, this is where I keep all my bleach and stuff. Now, I should probably put that in a cabinet, but I don't have any like tiny children. My youngest is 10 and he knows better than to touch bleach. What do I store in here? Random stuff. This is where I store like my alcohol pads. This is for like my vinyl applications. I send this out. This is a sticker that I made with my laser printer. and I stick that sticker on these cards that I bought from Amazon. Extra HTV in this drawer, my tagging gun in this drawer, like the little treats for my children, my cutter. These are basically my poly, like popsicle things that I sell on my Etsy shop. Tools, and then this is what I use when I record my videos. Fabrics, some gifts that go inside when I send shirts to my customers. I usually throw in a gift. This is like receipts, some tools. You always see me reaching for this handy dandy ruler. And then this is where I keep my extra vinyl scraps. I've got this is where I keep my ceramic, I can't think of what they're called, like coasters. These are my car coasters that I've made. I think that's pretty much it. And then just some random stuff in here. Over here on this side, you've seen the printers in another video. So these are my 2 Epson printers that I have converted into sublimation. This is where I keep all of my orders. So just based on the process that they're at. This is my daytime job, so I'm not going to go there. All of my vinyl currently right now I keep here. My husband's going to make me a cool shelf. He's got a lot more ahead of me that he's doing. He's working on a whole new thing in his garage. If you've seen these from my video, these are going to go up on the wall. I'm going to have one there, and I think over there. And then I'm going to paint my wall, I think a yellow or green. I'm not sure yet. So something cottagey. And then I'm already starting to get some ornaments because I know that those are going to be some big sellers during the Christmas season. So I'm going to start picking up ornaments anytime that they're in stock at Hobby Lobby. So I think that is it. I mean, I've got one more shelf over here. Don't pay attention to that mess. This is all my inventory that I need to fold and put away. These are all in process creations that I'm just, things I'm trying. All my SEI dies. I've got books behind there. Just miscellaneous shelf. All of my infusible inks. This shelf is mainly HTV. And then I've got some t-shirts and regular cotton shirts. These are like a ton of test shirts. So Gildan, sometimes the shirts that they send are not the best shirts. And they may have rips or holes. Well, instead of sending them back, because they're like $2, I keep them and then I just use them for anything test. So those are all my testing shirts. And I think that's it, you guys. I think that is the full area of my shop. I mean, it is definitely probably smaller than you thought based on the videos, but this is where I work and it's perfect. So my pressing side there and my miscellaneous side over here. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope that you learned something new or just got a refresher of things that you already knew but kind of forgot about. I love these type of videos, so keep your questions coming. Enter them in the comments below, and I figure like once a month or maybe once every other month, then I'll keep these Q&As coming so that I can answer all of your pressing questions. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and honestly, you guys, thank you for being my friends. I literally appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you so much for the added support over the last few days of me being forced to rebrand. So thank you. I can't even thank you enough for the love and support that I have felt. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, don't forget to ring that bell so that you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. Bye guys.